because unfortunately for Senate Democrats, Chuck Schumer, their leader, can't hear when somebody on CNN asks him a question, and so Democrat leadership is presented on MSNBC, and AOC is clearly their leader.
Here we are. We're here. And the reason why we are isn't because AOC is secretly orchestrating this thing or all of that sort of stuff. The reality is we're here because Chuck Schumer is a pussy.
Like, as soon as she said AOC is directing this, bro, Nancy Pelosi... It was like if a broker had called and said, "You're down today," she's like, "That's not supposed to..." Like, she's like shaking.
Our nation is standing up for American workers, restoring the pride of making products here at home. That's what we do every day. We're America's beverage companies, making American products with American workers in America's hometowns, delivering brands that have been enjoyed for generations, creating good-paying jobs, the kind that require only a strong work ethic. Because we believe in the promise of America and the people who make it great.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
Keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs.
It's time for our main event.
Good Thursday to you. Welcome back to the Ruthless Variety Program. My name is Josh Holmes, along with Comfortably Smug, Michael Duncan, and John Ashbrook, left to right across your radio dial as always. You may have noticed that the government is shut down to no discernible effect whatsoever. Maybe you can't go to a national park. I'm getting...
It's unclear.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
if
D.C.
you
doesn't
Google
seem different.
It really doesn't. I mean, the traffic was bad. People were driving in. You know, not very different.
Let Russ Vought cook.
Yeah.
They're going to regret this shit.
Traffic was bad this morning. We got to fire more people from the federal bureaucracy.
Bingo.
Well, working on it. Somebody's working on it. This is the most hysterical thing. So if you rewind the tape back to March, the Ruthless Variety Program basically predicted exactly what it is that we were going to go through. And then we had Thune in June back to like sort of confirm all of that. And we haven't talked about it a lot because frankly it's fucking boring.
Yeah.
We do this on an annual basis in the United States government, and there's always some like congressional disagreement that threatens to get to the brink of a government shutdown.
Yeah, but then we actually get to the thing, and this is where it is fun and not boring and entertaining. And that is like
100%.
all of the Democrats and all of their rationales for this thing and them all sniping at each other and not knowing what to say. And it's hysterical.
It is. It's like the whole run up to what eventually is going to happen is like boring. We don't bother you with it. But when it happens, boy, oh boy.
Then the entertainment begins.
Boy, oh boy, the entertainment begins. Before we get started on all of that, I have to let you know Eric Trump is in the house today. Very good interview where we take a little perspective on the life of in the Trump family. Mm-hmm. He's written a new book, which is great, and everybody should order it. We need to put that thing on New York Times #1
For sure.
because nothing would break the New York Times like that.
Yeah, the new book is called Under Siege, and we talked a little bit after the recording. And my thing to him was like, when this thing goes to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list, when you do CNN or something, like you have to demand that on the Chiron.
You got
New
it.
York Times best-selling author.
Yeah.
You know, not Eric Trump, Trump organization. No, make them have to say that.
Yeah, 100%. They will hate every minute of that. So look forward to that. That's coming up here shortly. But we have to start with, the Democrats shut the government down.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And what happens when you have a party that controls the White House, the House, and the Senate is that typically speaking, the minority party in all three situations doesn't have a lot of say. Mm-hmm. Like they try to confine the damage to their political ideology.
Right.
And their political ideology is just the expanse of government. That's all it is.
Right.
Really, when it comes to it.
Right. No, that's exactly right. And when one party, namely the Republican Party, controls all levers of government, and they change the date on a document written by the president from the other party, in this case Joe Biden, you would expect two words out of the Democrats: thank you.
Yeah.
You would.
But they didn't do it. In this case.
They didn't do it because Chuck Schumer went through a rash, and Democrats and the progressive side of the party decided that they should be running government. American people, notwithstanding, last November.
And not just that, is that changing that date is the end of democracy.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
people will die, Michael.
Right.
People will
Simply
die.
can't do it.
So we got to check in on how Chuck Schumer is managing this from a message perspective, right? This is part of this is the legislative machination.
Yeah.
But really, what the goal is when you get into shutdown territory, you got to message this thing. You got to win the hearts and minds of the American people. Check out this.
Every Republican who's gone on TV the last 12 hours or so has called this the Schumer shutdown. What do you say about that name?
He doesn't hear him. He's got nothing.
Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Hello?
Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
Hello?
I don't think Senator Schumer can hear me right now. Maybe the government shutdown included audio on Capitol Hill.
Bro, how is a CNN guy putting jokes on him too?
I know. He wore the glasses and everything.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? What's going on out there?
This is so good.
So I think the question that everybody has been asking is why is it that the Democrats, and let me just remind you 1 second, and you hate this, of parliamentary stuff.
Oh, here we go.
But the House passes a bill.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to the Senate. When it's a budget, like spending bill, it's a filibuster level. It requires 60 votes. Republicans have never in the history of the Republican Party had 60 votes. So you need a couple of Democratic votes to make this thing work. Well, Democrats have decided en masse that they're not interested in participating in this process for a variety of reasons that we'll get into here. But they have no clear message whatsoever. But we've uncovered over the last few weeks what is the reason why the American government is transmitting to the world that we can't govern ourselves. What is it? Clip 1.
Let me ask you this. There are some people I have seen who have the following theory of why Senate Democrats have not cut a deal where they give 8 votes and move along. And that is that Chuck Schumer is worried about a primary challenge from you and is worried about the politics to his left flank. And so because of that worry about a primary challenge, he's going to shut down the government. Ergo, it is AOC's fault that the government's shutting down, or that you're somehow the kind of fulcrum of this. And I want to just ask you straight up, are you planning to primary challenge him? Do you think that's why he's doing this?
This is so not about me in this moment. This is about people being able to insure their children. And I will say, because I saw some senators speculating about this, and I saw some Republican members of Congress saying, oh, well, if we have this shutdown, it's because of AOC. Well, if that's the case, my office is open, and you are free to walk in and negotiate with me directly. Because what I'm not going to do is tolerate 4 million uninsured Americans because Donald Trump decided one day that he wants to just make sure that kids are dying because they don't have access to insurance. That's what's not going to happen. So
amazing.
If those senators think that we're having a shutdown because of me, they're free to enter my office and negotiate, because what we're not going to do is allow all of millions of people in this country to not be able to afford their insulin and their chemotherapy. So come strike a deal with me if that's what they really think is going on.
So real quick, those millions of Americans, she's referring to Democrats want illegals to have health insurance. But I think the most interesting part of that is she's like, why don't they just negotiate with me? I'm calling the shots in this party. It's incredible.
Right.
And that she's so comfortable saying that on national TV. Bro. And she said nothing about of course I'm not primarying Schumer. She went right into
no,
step into my office.
Listen, dude,
I already got the job.
she knows she's in charge. She knows she's in charge. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's video of her giving a tour of the Senate leadership suite on the Dem side of the Capitol that showed up on Twitter today. And it's almost like she is giving people a tour of her new office in the Schumer suite.
Dude, so what else is funny about this is number one, and you mentioned it earlier a little bit, Holmes, the House passed the thing. She is a rank and file member of the House of Representatives. The idea that she is somehow in control of this conversation about whether we have a shutdown in the United States Senate is hilarious.
It's amazing.
It's like Al Haig being like, I'm in control.
Dude, but I think, Duncan, the reality is she is in control.
Well, and she didn't exactly
She
say no
runs
to
their
any of those
party.
things. You know what I think, kind of, honestly? I think Chris Hayes listens to our show. I think he hates you, Holmes. He hates you. There's this whole run-up to the election in 2020 where he tweeted at you every single day. I think he listens to the Ruthless Variety program.
I think he does because it's part. Listen, this is the construct that we came up with like 6 months ago as to why the government was going to shut down now, which is Nostradamus level stuff. If you think about it, a lot of things could have happened, but this was, in our mind, very, very predictable.
We'll never get the credit for it, but it's okay.
Yeah, we'll never get the credit. But there are 5 parties of people that matter in this discussion when you start. House Republicans, House Democrats, Senate Republicans, Senate Democrats, and the President of the United States and his administration. The House Republicans and the House Democrats become irrelevant when they pass a bill and send it to the Senate. It then becomes a Senate discussion. So you got 3 remaining parties. What you will find out in the next 20 minutes of this show is that the rest of these parties are not the ones that are talking about this stuff. It's the House Democrats that are like, they have the AOC view.
Right.
Come negotiate. I'll tell you what it is that I'm going to do.
That is so incredible,
No.
dude.
They just rammed it up your ass with a hot poker, and you have nothing. They're not 1 minute should anybody negotiate with you about anything because it's already passed. Your one job, it's done. It's already done. It's a Senate Democratic question, one way or another. Not particularly one that they're handling well, I might add.
No, because unfortunately for Senate Democrats, Chuck Schumer, their leader, can't hear when somebody on CNN asks him a question, and so Democrat leadership is presented on MSNBC, and AOC is clearly their leader.
Yeah, so how does Pelosi? She's like Speaker Emeritus.
Still there.
Which is a fake title that they keep running with.
It's Speaker Emeritus.
It's like tenured at Harvard. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense, and the best part is because the press just lets it happen.
Yeah.
The press is like, oh, but Pelosi.
Yeah.
Like, build a monument to this lady.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If I write that you're important, will you give me a stock tip?
I mean, they should name the building that was Bear Stearns, Nancy Pelosi building, but they're not going to do that. They're just going to make her Speaker Emeritus. What does she have to say in clip 1B?
There was a thought from the Republicans that AOC is directing this, and she said that senators are welcome to go to her office directly. Is she driving that?
Why are you saying such a ridiculous thing?
I'm just quoting what AOC said. She said go to her office directly. Do you think there's any credibility to that?
She's not directing this. She's wonderful. She's a real team player and the rest of that. You started by saying Republicans saying that she's directing this. She is not. Hakeem Jeffries
That's a broker.
is. And this takes a lot of experience, a lot of unity from the caucus in terms of the point of view. And that's what this is. She's an articulate spokesperson for her point of view.
That seems
Hakeem
racist.
Jeffries.
Do we have the button for that?
Dude, that's awesome.
That's it.
She's like, very clean. Well, speaking like Biden said for Obama, she's like, she's very. Yeah,
There we go.
She's very articulate, but again, for the folks who are just listening, go to the YouTube because you have to see how furiously, as soon as she said AOC is directing this, bro, Nancy Pelosi. It was like if a broker called and said, "You're down today." She's like, "That's not supposed to." She's like shaking the whole time. She's like shaking. She's like, "AOC's not in charge."
I think we got to understand about somebody like Nancy Pelosi, for all of her faults and everything. Like, she's an institutionalist and she did the job and all that sort of stuff. So, the very idea that a rank and file member of the House of Representatives could pretend to be in charge of a shutdown negotiation
Minority.
is wild.
In the minority.
I mean,
They just got the whole bill rammed up their ass.
Here we are. We're here. And the reason why we are isn't because AOC is secretly orchestrating this thing or all of that sort of stuff. The reality is we're here because Chuck Schumer is a pussy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's just be honest about this whole thing. AOC isn't pulling the strings in the back. She'd like to pretend she is because maybe she thinks she can run for president or be a primary challenge to Chuck Schumer. But the reason we're here is that Chuck Schumer is a pussy. He's a bad leader of the Democratic Party in the United States Senate. The job of being leader in the Senate is being a heat shield for your caucus, and you find some consensus and you figure out your way forward.
Yep.
But when you entirely sell out to the left-wing lunatics in the House who have no say in this entire thing because you think you might keep the job for 6 months longer, you're a pussy.
Yeah, no,
you're a pussy.
Can I get one more of the Nancy Pelosi react?
Racist.
There we go. I just love
AOC
the
is
word.
articulate.
She's
Get out
articulate.
of here. Get out of here with your stock trades.
All right, so when we come back, Democrats are all over the map on what they want. It's everything from ending fascism to securing money for illegals.
Yeah.
To children, which I don't know how they worked their way into this, but that was
Yeah, you gotta make shit up.
AOC's thing. Like, there's a whole bunch of different. They don't have a message as to why they closed it down, but we do have an awful lot of hilarious clips right after this.
America's demand for energy is rising rapidly, and at a time when American families can least afford an energy shortage. But for decades, critical energy projects have been blocked, limiting our access to reliable, affordable American energy and putting America's energy dominance at risk. The solution is obvious. Overhaul the broken energy permitting process. Make it faster and simpler. Innovation, a strong workforce, abundant oil and gas. We have it all right here in the USA. Let's put America first and political agendas last. We can power our own country, create thousands of good-paying American jobs, and unleash American energy to be bigger and better than ever before. Because when America builds, America wins. Read API's plan to secure America's future at permittingreformnow.org. Paid for by the American Petroleum Institute.
You've already read about it. Delays, cancellations, or worse. Our air traffic control system is out of date, to say the least. Fortunately, President Trump has called for spending billions to upgrade it. And what do I think? I think it is time for out with the old technology and in with the new. Peraton is a company that has 3 things we need to modernize our air traffic control system: people, technology, and innovation. They proudly employ thousands of America's best and brightest. And they're already solving many of America's toughest national security challenges. It's a great company that already works with the Department of War and NASA. They are literally doing stuff by land, air, and even in outer space. That's the kind of people I want to fix the mess at Reagan, Dulles, and beyond. This could be a serious upgrade over what we have now. Peraton is ready to provide America the air traffic control system we deserve, safer and more reliable. Peraton, the future of air travel is here. Go to peraton.com/ATC to learn more. That's peraton.com/ATC to learn more.
All right, so listen, we find this it's just funny. Again, the one particular body in the one party that doesn't matter a lick when it comes to opening up your government has a lot to say.
So much.
They're driving the conversation. And I think Duncan said it well. This is like Schumer just scared of everything.
Yep.
Like he just can't, he doesn't think he's going to stay in the job if he can't just like say shut down the government for them. He hasn't quite calculated as to how it is that he gets out from underneath this box canyon, but he's like knows that you have to put us in it in order to at least keep the job for a little while.
Yeah.
And that may be just his job as a senator, too, with the AOC thing. But it turns out everybody that AOC is listening to in the Democratic progressive base, well, they've got a lot to say. Clip 2.
And I want to make sure that you know this, that as long as I am breathing and a United States member of Congress, I will not fund authoritarianism. I will not support fascism.
Come
And
on.
I will not be voting for any continuing resolution that will allow Donald Trump and these Republicans to continue to take away from the people, steal from the people. Because this is a moment where you are asking members of Congress, you are asking elected officials, which side are you on? Are you on the side of the people? Are you on the side of our children? Are you on the side of our communities? Or are you going to continue to bend the knee to a wannabe king? Which one is it?
Dude, so
Right off,
great.
right off the bat, I just have to say, like, I am so incredibly sick of Democrats saying this is fascism, authoritarianism. This shows they will never learn. They will never stop with the rhetoric which is inspiring that party's grassroots to commit violence and murder and cause mayhem in this country. She has no idea what she's talking about.
None.
That is
All of that
Representative
is lies.
Representative Delia Ramirez.
Absolute lies.
It's just vacant theater kid behavior.
That's exactly it, dude.
Like the whole start about how, I will not take a breath in fun.
Yeah,
Like
yep.
it's
But
just
also,
dramatic.
they never
then
get
also
to the turn.
And then also like a reference to like which side are you on?
Yeah.
Like pulling out Woody Guthrie.
Oh, right.
Like you're fighting.
Yeah.
You're fighting like
She's
a
on the
coal
picket
miner
line.
in Harlan. Like get the fuck out of here.
The contrast between that and HR 4671, the continuing resolution date change. Therefore, I will not support authoritarianism, which is the Biden budget. It's the most ridiculous thing on the planet.
Just to rewind the tape, we said this on Tuesday. We've said this for a while. What they're talking about on the Republican side is a Biden-passed appropriations bill, the budget of the United States, that all of them voted for.
But it doesn't fund PBS. And so democracy is going to end.
It's over.
That's the argument.
Yeah.
That's what whose side are you on comes from. Our children are at stake. If they can't get full funding of our propaganda networks,
It is just it's just hilarious to hear. I will not support authoritarianism. I will not support fascism. I will not support the continuing resolution. I mean, listen to yourself.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
fascism, authoritarianism, the budget I voted for 2 years ago. You dumb fucks. Like, it's totally hilarious. All right, so she's not the only one. Maxine Waters, real favorite here.
Yeah.
I mean, she's done a lot of great stuff.
She's a highlight reel.
But she's just continuing to do her work. Clip 4.
Do Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown? Because if the government does shut down, Americans
Excuse
are going to
me,
be furloughed.
stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open and we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody. We want to save lives. We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
There it is.
Okay.
She just admitted it.
Okay.
It's like that meme. Oh my God, she admitted it.
So you got on one hand, Chuck Schumer puts out this Sherman-esque statement that it's like, at no point have Democrats ever discussed the idea that we would ever be in favor of health care for illegal immigrants. And then they submitted a proposal to the White House that was reversing the cuts from the Big Beauty that were specifically outlined for health care for illegal immigrants as their number 2 thing that they needed to get done. Literally 2 of 4. There's 4 demands, PBS being one of them.
Yeah.
But the number 2 on that was reversing the illegal immigrant things. J.D. Vance did a nice job, by the way.
Great job.
Of
Great
explaining exactly what we're talking about here, because it's like at some level, as a consumer of political information, but not like you don't have time to like look up the bill number. It's kind of feels he said, she said. He's like, we've never done that. And the administration was like, you're doing that. And then J.D. walked through it and he's like, no, number 2 on the list right there, that's what that is.
Well, yeah, and then you'll have a bunch of progressives on Twitter be like, well, actually, that's a state program. New York State does that program, and it's it's for illegal immigrants in the state, but we believe in federalism, and it's like, well, actually, we block grant all of this shit to the states, and then you use it to make some budget gimmick in your state budget, and then you use money from the federal government to give health care to illegal immigrants.
We just simply said you can't do that.
You can't do that part. You just can't anymore.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah, democracy's over.
Democracy. So anyway, that's Maxine Waters doing what? And I think on Tuesday's show, the old man may have said, how long do we have to go into this before we get Cory Booker? Old Spartacus?
I mean, easiest call. I would point the bat to the outfield. Just knowing I'm hitting a home run.
Well, here he is, clip 4A.
We just went into a shutdown because Republicans refused to work with us to deal with the healthcare crisis that they created. Donald Trump and Republicans control the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the White House. They need to do their job and put forward a budget that will help Americans. I've heard from New Jerseyans all over my state that they are struggling with healthcare costs and the rising costs of pretty much everything. And Republicans are refusing to work with us to do something about it. But we are going to continue to stand and fight to try to help Americans. And really, this should be a bipartisan commitment to doing the things necessary to help folks who are struggling right now have access to health care, have more affordability in their lives, and less of this kind of reckless politics on behalf of Donald Trump.
Okay.
All right, so the first two things are the most important two things, is that, according to Cory Booker, the Republicans have shut down the government.
Oh.
And they've done it, basically because of a healthcare crisis. This is his words, that they created. The last and most meaningful piece of healthcare legislation that has gone through was, of course, Obamacare, which we were all assured was the Affordable Care Act.
This is going to make it affordable.
Which would make it affordable. And the most important part of it, in terms of both access and just the longevity of the program, is we're going to bend the cost curve.
You guys
remember that?
We were going to do that, but also, if you liked your doctor, you're going to be able to keep him.
Yeah, I remember that. That one sailed in January 2010, right? Like 4 days after that thing passed, everybody was like, I can't get my doctor. And they're like, oh, yeah. And they had a couple of bad
It was like one of the few times, even PolitiFact admitted, they're like, that was lie of the year, which is crazy. It was the last time they went against a Dem.
But if you're listening to this and you are covered by health insurance, you know damn well this thing has gone up. They keep saying doubled. That's fucking bullshit. It is quintupled.
Yep.
I mean, I know this personally. We all know this personally. We've dealt with it. Healthcare costs in terms of being insured, if you have any sort of family whatsoever, it is 5 times.
Yep.
And it just keeps on going up and going up. And the whole bet that they made was, of course, you expand Medicaid to make more people insured, which doesn't affect the markets, but it is government health care, which is what their ultimate goal is.
Yeah.
And then the second piece was just adding a whole bunch of tax incentives and whatever to make sure that you could pay insurance companies to cover people with a precondition situation. Insurance markets used to price higher people who had cancer and wanted to be the first time insured than they did everybody else. And they were like, no, you have to price everybody else the same. Of course, what happens in a free market economy is that like a 27-year-old healthy single individual who wants to get health care coverage is now paying like 100 times what they would pay in order to do that. And their way around that was a crisis, right? It was the old Rahm Emanuel, never let a crisis go to waste. Of course, we had the scary situation of COVID, uncertain situation, and the first thing that they did in this $1 trillion spending bill is ensure that you could have tax credits that were given. This is 10, 12 years after this thing passed into law, tax credits to help afford the premiums that had since skyrocketed since they said it would be affordable and it wasn't, to afford health care during a scary time of a pandemic. Okay. That was intentionally a temporary situation to try to get you through a pandemic. And now we find ourselves with Cory Booker telling all of us that the unaffordability of health care
Republicans did it.
is a Republican problem.
Right. And Josh, you're exactly right. And I remember all of the promises from Obamacare. I remember COVID, just like everybody else. But I remember something else Democrats did. They let 35 million illegal immigrants into this country, and presumably they get sick sometimes. Who do you think pays for that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When the 35 million illegal immigrants who are in this country get sick, who pays for that? Is that out of pocket? Does that come from Blue Cross Blue Shield, or is that paid for by the American taxpayer?
Bingo.
Is it burdening the system in a way that Republicans warned about, but Democrats were like, oh, no. We need open borders because we want to change the demographics in this country. Democrats are at fault for every single one of these problems, and all we're trying to do is change the date on a Biden budget, and they're like, no, you need to solve all the problems we created.
A crisis that you've created. It's
Right.
the most galling
It is.
thing of all time. So, look, they're out there, and they've tried to make these cases to the American people. You know, and like since like the Newt Gingrich era, shutdown showdowns are all about messaging and like who can win the messaging more. So Hakeem Jeffries, I mean, a real technological wizard, front lines in terms of communicating directly to the American people, decides, well, I'm going to put up a live stream where we can get people, we get real lawmakers. Never mind the fact that they're irrelevant to this process, but real lawmakers to come in and talk to you about the damages that this shutdown is doing. So they throw this thing up. Graphic one, please. You saw that right. 47 people were watching.
Those are the people
goodness.
in Hakeem Jeffries' office and Yvette Clark's office.
Yeah.
47 people are watching their official live stream about how they're going to win the messaging war on what they call the Republican shutdown.
So not even every Democrat in the House is
Not
watching.
even every Democrat staffer in their offices are watching that. No, I mean, you can't even get the like you said, 47. I mean, you've got 100 and 200 plus Democrats in that. But just in the staff offices of the minority leader in her office, they're not all in. They're not all watching the live stream.
I mean, they're 100% going to lose this messaging war. And we talked about this on the show, I think, last week, where it was like, I trust Donald Trump can win this messaging war in Trump 2.0 of this administration, where he's like a dog on a bone, and he just won't let go of winning on the thing. And he did it with the DC crime thing and everything else. And it's incredible. The other thing, and when I was in New York for Outnumbered on Tuesday.
We saw
7 glorious minutes.
Yeah, it was a little abbreviated because of a live press conference.
Yeah.
But I think what was awesome about that, dude, and like it wasn't great that like I didn't get to do the whole show and all that stuff, but everybody up there was super nice. And
Yeah.
thank you, Fox, for all of that. But watching that press conference, I thought to myself, and I talked about it on the show, is like on the same day that Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer are shutting down the government, and their demand is the taxpayers need to pay the subsidies for the thing we called the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
That is not affordable. At that same time, Donald Trump is hosting a press conference to figure out how to lower drug prices for Americans.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't pick
With a tangible action point.
You couldn't pick a better bracketing.
It's real contrast.
In politics, we'd call that bracketing, right? Like where you find something that the opponent wants to do and you figure out a way to get around them.
Do it better.
And that's what Donald Trump did. That is a remarkable thing. It's a very difficult issue in American politics to figure out healthcare policy. It just
totally.
is.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like
is.
this is obviously a very hard thing. Like the Democrats tried to do this and they fucked it all up and now they blame us, right?
Yep.
But Donald Trump doing that whole press conference on the same day is just such like a remarkable messaging win.
It's a remarkable messaging win. And it turns out like the whole thing is working. Graphic 2, New York Times obviously is the New York Times. No friend of the Trump administration, but they found that 65% of respondents in a poll say Dems should not shut the government down. That's an extraordinarily high number of people.
I mean, and also the breakdown of the show of for Democrats, 47% said they should, 43 said they should not. That's to me the most striking part of this.
Yeah.
I mean, independents, huge. It's basically 32 said yes, shut down. 59 said don't. But for the Democrats, man, they're like
They're
literally
split.
they're in disarray.
Yeah.
Dems are divided.
And that 43% you're dealing with increasingly. It's kind of a high number if you think about it, but it's the AOCs and everybody that we've just heard from. They were like, no, burn America to the ground. We don't give a shit. Like, do what you do. We need blood type attitude that they've expressed over the last few months. And Schumer is so weak. He's in a position where he's like, I got to listen to that.
It's just a failure of leadership. Like, I'm not surprised by those numbers of the Democratic Party, but those numbers are a reflection of the weakness of Chuck Schumer. Like, you only end up in a situation like that where half the Democratic Party is like, no, shut the government down, because it's allowed through a permission structure from the leadership at the top.
Yep.
Like, that is a failure to be a leader.
Yeah,
That's what that is.
It's what it is. And so when you're losing a strategy war, no strategy to get in or out of this problem, and you're losing a messaging war, as evidenced by all of that, you got to do gimmickry. There's some great gimmickry out there. Clip 5, please.
We're barreling towards a shutdown. All my Democratic colleagues are here. I'm going to go search for my Republican colleagues.
Oh, really?
Republicans, y'all know there's a government shutdown. Republicans, anyone here?
Oh, you really got to watch this on YouTube.
Is Mike Johnson in here? Let's see if some Republicans are in here. Are there any Republicans in here? Hello?
Oh, he's so creative.
No Republicans here. They left a mess and left town.
Theater kids.
I'll give Sarah McBride credit. He's got more balls than Schumer.
He's got more balls.
Yeah, you have to wonder. You know. You do have to
only
wonder.
listeners, if you're like, who is that dude? You hear that voice, that Adam Apple going crazy. That's Sarah McBride.
I was going to say before, Smug beat me to it, but I was going to say it's like, what is more stilted? Like her comedy or her pretending to be a woman?
All right, so there is a women's caucus. Unclear. I don't know if McBride.
Dude, that'd be hilarious if McBride's in there, dude.
The chair? Chair? Probably the
It's
chair.
like how Sports Illustrated made Caitlyn Jenner the Woman of the Year that one year.
Yeah.
Remember that? It's kind of, but I don't know if she's a chair. I don't even know if she's in this, but there is a women's caucus. Here's clip 6.
Congresswoman, what are you doing? Well, I'm going to put up some missing poster signs because we got some missing people. They fled town or they're missing. We're worried about them. Normally you would stay and show up and deal with things. So something had to have happened
It's
to
like
them.
a wanted
because they're not
poster.
here to prevent a shutdown. So I'm going to go put up some posters, see
With
if we
Speaker
find them.
Johnson?
Hey, listen, if any of you out there know where they're at, give their offices a call. Tell them to come to work. We're worried about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny because the one thing, remember we talked about the 5 different things. The one thing that actually did all of that was the House Republicans. It's not their job. This is only a Senate Democratic discussion. All Republicans were able to pass a full bill out of the House. It's no longer a House issue. They have no point in this. Senate Democrats have to deal with it. But it makes it even funnier in that literally the moment that she's walking outside with wanted posters.
Doing the theater kid BS.
Yeah.
Of Speaker Mike Johnson. Here's Mike Johnson. Clip 7. He's right there. He's like fucking feet away.
Feet away. He's on the speaker balcony from the speaker's office.
Position that as a binary choice, and it's patently absurd.
It's so funny.
Also, like, you got Cotton's in there.
Dude, they're doing a full press conference, and she's handing out wanted posters.
It's like
so
literally
dumb.
all she needed to do with that wanted poster is like,
turn around.
Yeah. Collect the reward.
There they are, looking down at me.
So pathetic.
What a dumbass. All right, so, like, look, I mean, I don't know how this whole thing's going to end. What I do know is that typically speaking, the way that government shutdowns end is that you've got a constituency that's, like, particularly aggrieved on all of this. And people are like, all right, like, I understand it's partisan bullshit, but like, we're going to, and you've seen some Democrats, what is it, like 3 or something that
In the
voted.
Senate, yeah. Yeah, and there's maybe another one who's coming along.
Yeah, it might be 4. You can see some cracks in the armor. But then, like, the larger political thing is, like, who's winning the political message war and, like, what party needs to give. And can you come up with some veneer of a win enough to get people back together? I just don't think Donald Trump gives shit about the veneer of a win on this thing. And furthermore, he's got Russ Vought out there. We're going to cover this in detail on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. He's out there just like, all right, you want to shut the government down? I got some ideas. And he's just cutting shit left and right.
Another thing we called, by the way.
Yeah, we called that. We called it.
But the important component of that, back to the constituencies you were talking about, is like when Russ Vought suddenly puts a pause on some program in New York, shit might change.
Yeah.
People are going to get some calls and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, like, can you please just do your job? Like, you're fighting over a date change.
Yeah.
It's a date change. The whole healthcare thing that they're talking about, by the way, it's that, if you can get over the fact that it's a tax subsidy to try to rectify a marketplace that they broke with Obamacare, if you can get over that, and you're like, fine, but I do need the taxpayer subsidy just because. It doesn't expire until Jan 1. Like, what are we doing right now? You got like 4 more bites of the apple. What they're talking about is like a 6-week window to just make sure the lights are on in the Capitol and people continue to get like government benefits and whatnot. And like, it's all self-inflicted on the Democratic side. So, I mean, look, I think that it leads to a question of the day.
Yes.
Question of the day is, we know Russ Vought has started the cuts, and we'll cover that, as I said, in tomorrow's show. If you're sitting in his shoes,
I love this question.
and you just take a look around, and you have the opportunity, what cuts would you make during the shutdown?
Great question.
What cuts? What cuts? I mean, we heard the whole Doge thing, and like, there's been some things that could go through and others that couldn't. But like, you've got things on your mind. What cuts would you make? Put it in the likes. When you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Friday program, we read all of them, and we summarize it and give you back the next show, which is Friday. And that's what we will do. And when we come back, we're going to get to your comments from Tuesday's episode. A great discussion about how long this shutdown will last. Seems pertinent now after this.
Only 58% of Americans today say they're proud to be American. The lowest number ever recorded. That's not just sad, it is very dangerous, because if we forget what makes America special, we risk losing it. That's why Americans for Prosperity is launching the One Small Step campaign, a bold nationwide initiative to reconnect Americans with our founding principles that sparked unparalleled innovation and prosperity. It's not just a celebration, it's a call to action. Through the 250,000 Steps for Freedom Challenge, AFP is partnering with the grassroots in all 50 states to take meaningful steps that defend freedom and advance opportunity. Call your representative, attend a local event, knock on a door, talk to your neighbors. Every single step counts, and every step moves us closer to a more perfect union. Go to takeonesmallstep.com to learn more, then join the challenge at afpvolunteer.com.
Okay, dude, I'm still kind of reeling from the
It's
fact
true
that you had said that Sarah McBride has bigger balls than Schumer.
True.
It's hard. Yeah, it's very funny. That's very funny. Okay, your comments from last show. How long will this whole government shutdown last? When you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Friday program, we lead with it in the very next program. And we always start with a voice.
First comment comes from Jim Monaghan, and Jim writes, "Shutdown won't last long, maybe a week. Trump should make them agree to further rescissions before starting back up. Get something for the left's antics. FAFO, baby. Be like that scene in Draft Day. We lived in a different world than we did 5 minutes ago. Make 'em squeal. That's Jim Monaghan.
That's the truth.
Very good.
Jim's bringing the heat.
Bringing the heat. I love it. All right, comment 2, Dunks Runks.
Comment 2 from Plausible Deniability.
Great name.
I like that. They write, never underestimate the ability of the GOP to lose. Even when they're in full control of all three branches, the spirit of, quote, crossing the aisle has been the death knell for conservatives forever. I hope they stand strong, but they know they will get drug in the media. So I am not 100% sure they don't capitulate to some Democratic items. But I pray I am wrong. I mean, this is...
I like that. Keep the feet on... Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
dude. Keep the feet on the fire.
It's
we got to go hard in the
paint.
paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the singing, that Smugs theme.
I like that. I knew I like plausible deniability.
All right. Comment 3, Smug.
Comment 3 is from Joseph Spiegel. Joseph writes, the shutdown will last through Election Day in November because the Dems are sure it's a winning election strategy. Chaos theory.
Jesus.
That would be something.
Holy cats. I mean, a year? You get 13 months of a government shutdown. Can you imagine?
That would be amazing.
I'd be interested to find out.
Dude,
if
you give
anything
Rose about 13 months, man. He's going to chew them up.
That's right.
Do you think anything actually would happen?
There'd be nothing left out of Rose once it's got 13 months.
So
It'd be pretty tough to get foreign investment. I know
and he
that.
slipped in chaos theory, a tribute to El Rushbo.
There you go.
So they have an upcoming retreat, the Democrats, in Napa.
No.
In
Are you
Napa
kidding?
Valley.
Yeah, you didn't hear about this?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
That's such a tough look.
Yeah.
If they're on their Napa trip,
Wait, is that
that's
soon?
true.
It's a serious thing. I think it starts the 13th of October.
I mean, they're going to have to cancel it.
Yeah, bro,
They won't.
you think Dems are going to give up a retreat?
Bro, a chance
They're
to go
gonna
to
go-
French Laundry?
They're
No.
He's
not
They're
wrong.
going to go check out Napa Reds and like sip on wine
Yeah.
and crackers and stuff while they're shutting down the government.
Well, I think that's the backstop. Like, I don't think they could do it. If they did that, that'd be
Wait,
wild.
hold on. Do you think that is the backstop?
It is. It has to
They're
be.
like, we have to make this. We
No.
got to go to Napa.
I think.
Sorry, illegals.
Yeah.
You're seeing the way that they have, like, their party has fallen apart.
We're going to Napa. You don't get health care.
I think the Dems really think that the media can just float them, dude. I'm dead serious. It would not surprise me if they go out to Napa.
No, man, that's a tough look.
Dude, they
they
don't
are
care.
killing Americans.
They don't care.
They're stripping away children's health care. That glass of Chardonnay looks excellent.
so good.
I'm telling you what's going to happen is they're going to wake up in the morning, they're going to do like 4 Instagram videos each, and they're going to take the rest of the day to hit the wineries.
They'll be like, I reluctantly voted to
Yeah.
not fund the illegals.
All their teeth being super red.
That's hilarious.
It is more important. That's the best. We should probably do a part of a show about what the ultimate statement of capitulation is for Democrats. Like, we'll write our own.
Oh, that's a great point.
We should write our own. Because we used to do
That's
this
fun.
for a living. We would write statements for politicians in all sorts of chaos. And there's always a formulaic component to it. It's very funny. Wolf, bookmark that thing. Let's do that next week. Like, what does the statement look like ultimately when they come to the conclusion? I know mine.
Yeah.
I have mine.
Given the economic turmoil.
I reluctantly agree. With great reservation.
But in the interest of my country.
And a huge amount of animus towards a authoritarian administration.
With an eye toward the next opportunity.
All right, so listen, there's one more clip. While the Democrats are doing all of this, the Trump administration seems to be having a lot of fun. And it's not that they don't take this seriously. They do take it seriously. But sometimes you just have to, as we have in the first 40 minutes of the show, just laugh about how insane they ultimately are. And like what I really appreciate about the Trump administration this time around is that they are willing to entertain the laugh.
Yep.
It's necessary. If you can't make fun of this, what the hell can you make fun of?
Right.
Anyway, clip 8, please.
No way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know? At least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
So, dude,
that is so good.
What makes it so funny is that Trump posted that in his X account.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. It's Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero next to Chuck Schumer with a clear AI voice giving the Democratic
Well, and so like many people in the mainstream media would talk about the coarsening of American politics and how absurd this is and that and the other thing. But I think sort of the ethos of this show that we've done now for 5 years is that there is no point in debating these people. You just have to make fun of them because they are ludicrous on their face.
They're insane. They're insane people. When you act insane, you have to be treated as though you're insane.
Right.
You know, you can't have a realistic policy discussion with these people. They're not like, this is an argument over a date change on a bill they all voted for.
Right.
Like, we're not talking about the absurdity of that. They voted for every single thing in the thing that they're now saying is a assault to the American democracy.
It's the end of democracy.
They voted for it for 2 years. They voted for it last in March. Like, it's the end of democracy if you can't make fun of that. And that's what the Trump administration is doing. Hats off. I think it's funny.
It's very creative.
Very, very funny. When we come back, King of the Hill, our signature game here in the Ruthless Variety program, right after this. Okay, King of the Hill. I think I'm a participant this week.
That's right.
I might as well go with Bill Kristol. It's been a little while since he's been on the program. I'm going to bring him to play. Champion is what, Ashbrook?
Champion is Matt Dowd.
Okay.
And Duncan's our bailiff, and I am the judge.
Ooh.
So I hope you got some good stuff.
And I'm going to run a very tight court, as I often do. I believe in law and order.
Law and order.
Let's go ringside.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. It's time for King of the Hill. In the red corner, fighting formerly from the Weekly Standard. Bill, war now, war forever, Kristol. And now, in the blue corner, fighting from who knows where, and current champion of the world, Matthew Mel Pattern Dowd.
Best in the business.
Did Ashbrook have like a Celsius before that?
I feel like he
holy shit,
put his back into it.
That was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was good.
It's good every time.
We have good contestants.
Whew. Okay, well, you're the defending champion, right? You got to go first.
Okay. Let's do exhibit number 5, please. Matt Dowd, exhibit number 5. Democratic candidates in swing Senate races should come out and say they will not vote for Schumer to be majority leader under any circumstances. It will help with both the Democratic base and independent voters. Matt Dowd is now an anti-establishment left-winger, not just a Democrat. He's moved full anti-establishment left. He was a Republican press secretary who worked for the RNC.
That is incredible.
But hold on, is he wrong?
That's what I'm saying. Like, actually, good take. Is horseshoe theory real? He's gone so far.
We've seen. I think
not a bad take.
I think there's
good political advice.
As judge, do I vote for that because it's a good take?
Your Honor, I think there's art in the metamorphosis.
Dude, I love the take. It's a good pick.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick.
What do we have at home?
So exhibit 10, please. Bill Kristol is reacting to the ICE crackdowns. He says, our cities aren't war ravaged, they're ice ravaged.
our city.
That's so nuts, dude. Like
Ice ravaged.
I can't get over it. Like Bill Kristol being like, no, we got to help the illegals. ICE is the problem here. That's just so wild. I got to give that round to Kristol. I mean, man, what is happening?
It's tough. I agree with you, Judge. I will say one thing is I appreciate that Ashbrook played on theme for the show.
Yes.
Of the shutdown. And,
Yes.
and that should not go unnoticed.
That's a good point.
Well, it's nice. So it's a nice little footnote in the commentary if otherwise decided to.
I mean, who could possibly beat that?
I would never criticize the court in that way.
Round 2, challenger.
Yeah.
All right, Exhibit 12, please. Hegseth fires general officers and JAGs, cracks down on dissenting views in the military, orders killing civilians at civilians.
He's calling the terrorists civilians.
Without legal rationale.
Venezuelan drug runners.
Calls generals to Quantico to demand loyalty. Trump deploys troops to U.S. cities. What are Trump and Hegseth up to? It's a mystery.
Dude, this is so wild. That Pierre Omidyar money must hit so different that like this guy, those are terrorists. Those are narco terrorists that the military is taking out by drone strike. And it's because we got left-wing judges who, once the like narcos are in the U.S., they will fight tooth and nail to keep them here. Like, what's the name of that Maryland man?
Yeah.
So civilians is my favorite.
Civilians.
Bill Kristol, who did his best to send Americans to fight and die overseas fighting terrorists, is now like, no, actually, narco-terrorists are civilians. It's just, man, that Pierre Omidyar money must be good.
And cracks down on dissenting
That is crazy.
views.
I hope you got something good, Ashbrook, because that's just crazy.
Exhibit number 4, please. Matt Dowd, Quinnipiac, in a recent poll asked, do you think that the way people talk about politics these days is contributing to violence in the United States, or don't you think so? 82% of voters agreed with this, including the majority of Dems, independents, and the GOP. I said basically this, and I got fired.
Oh, my God, dude. Why won't...
It's like a real life version of like that meme of like the person looking in the mirror and they're like, get in there and make it about you.
He is... So, like, I had the luxury of forgetting what a twisted person Dowd is because he got fired for saying Charlie Kirk deserved to be murdered. I was so happy to have forgotten that. And then that just brings it right back. What a piece of garbage. He wins that one. He wins that one.
To round 3.
A round 3. It's deciding round 3.
It all goes down to this.
Okay.
And Ashbrook, you got to go first, pal.
Okay. Okay, let's go exhibit number 1, please. And this is a Matt Dowd retweet
What the hell, bro? Is that Yoda?
A bot account saying, you got fired for paraphrasing Yoda, dude. That's just wrong.
Oh my God.
And it's a picture of Yoda, and Matt Dowd
Hell
retweeted
yeah.
it. This appears to be a bot account, although maybe it's not. I really don't know.
Is this on Blue Sky?
It's Blue Sky.
Can I just raise an objection for the court?
Yep, 100% objectionable.
Okay.
Sustained. Sustained. That was a
Okay.
horrible... What? Sustained.
What do you explain it?
Well, the
Dude, because it's
objection
a
was
quote
always
retweet.
that
He's
you have
writing
to
it.
ask the court
Yep.
whether or not you can read or paraphrase the tweet
And
that you
Ashbrook
are
didn't care. He
quoting
just
or
did it
retweet-
anyway.
tweeting.
Well, in his defense, I think it was...
What? Who said this is
Bro,
out?
it
was bailiff is just said.
Bailiff's
Hold
out
on.
of order, bro.
He's out of order. Shit.
When a bailiff's sort of order...
Holmes, how could you explain that otherwise? You couldn't really explain it
Well,
otherwise.
I wouldn't have
Then you
played
should have
it.
played it. Bingo.
But he should... No, what he should have...
I
What
said
he
it was
should
a
have done
retweet.
is asked.
Hey,
He should
hey,
have
bailiff,
asked.
could I have silence in my courtroom? Could you make sure the court...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go do your job, bro.
Wow.
Do your job, bro.
That's fucking unreal.
Could we get to Holmes?
Yeah, okay. Exhibit 8, please. And this is on the ICE shooting.
No way.
1, it's terrible. That's nice. This is a work of art, fellas. This is a work
looks
of
so
art.
good.
ICE shooting. 1, it's terrible. Okay, so you got that out of the way. Set that aside. Number 2, too many disturbed people have access to too many guns. This was a Second
This
Amendment
guy
rights guy up until Donald Trump became president. Number 3, too many political figures use incendiary and dehumanizing
way.
rhetoric. By far, the most significant is the president. The fish of political violence rots from the head down.
That is so nuts, dude. He's saying this about President Trump, who's had multiple assassinations. That's just too crazy.
Bro, he says it every day.
No, Kristol's won that, dude. That is just insane. To have a take of
Can't have it. Can't have
Donald Trump, who's had multiple assassination attempts, is causing this. That's nuts, dude.
It's a work of art to say his attacks on his own administration are his doing.
Crazy.
And then to come out in favor of gun control is
Not
like a
only
throwaway.
did you win this on the takes, Ashbrook lost it on that horrible idea to try to play that. And also the bailiff was out of control, bro. Like, I soldiered through this.
So really, you won.
You won. I have to say one more thing.
I won.
I think the funniest thing about that Kristol take is the idea that you make a tweet with a 1 dot the thing, 2 dot the thing, like you're making like a syllabus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's so good. Dude, fantastic.
Unbelievable.
We'll have a new champion. Bill Kristol will return again next week. We got a couple of things in variety here before we get to Eric Trump. The most important of which is several weeks ago, maybe last week, we covered the Fat Bear contest.
Yeah.
And this was important to us. It's been a long-running thing. We've covered the runaway sort of Cosa Nostra of bears in the upper Northwest.
Yeah.
Hank
Mhm.
being the ringleader of all of it. So they started, instead of like punishing and killing these bears, what they've done is create a contest.
Yeah.
Who's the fattest bear, the fattest and beanest. And we featured one bear.
One. We only talked about one.
One bear on the Ruthless Variety program got our focus. That was Chunk 32. Do you want to know who won the Fat Bear contest? Chunk 32.
Oh,
Ruthless Bump.
Dude, look at that image.
The Ruthless Bump.
Ruthless Bump. I'm just telling you, like, Chunk, here's the thing. If you're in and around this area and you have the proper permitting, we would like you to harvest Chunk 32 and send that rug to Comfortably Smile.
Well, here's the thing.
Please do.
Chunk is big enough that I think Ashbrook and Smug could both get their own rug.
No,
bro. They
always
I
try
made
to
it
take it
clear.
from me.
Listen, fellas. Listen. I made it clear on the previous episode. That magnanimously, I am going to give Smug first dibs on Chunk 32's hide.
Provided.
Because all I want is a full orca on my wall. If someone can catch and stuff an orca, I will put it on my wall. And somebody asked, wow, how big is your house that you can put it on your wall? I'm not putting it inside. I'm putting it on the front of my house. So everybody sees and everybody knows that this guy does not like the blackfish and he will defend you from its teeth. Terrible demon fish.
They are bad. They are the bad guy, dude.
Proper permitting required.
Exactly. You have to take it fairly.
Take it fairly.
Cut a seal in half and use that as bait.
All of that being said, we have a very special guest here, Eric Trump. I want to welcome to the program a very special guest. Eric Trump, how are you, sir?
It's good to be with you guys.
Listen, bud, it's your kind of first run at the whole authorship thing. Turns out that sucker went to #1. You're now dominating the Democratic nominee for president against your father. That didn't seem that tough, huh?
Listen, I never thought I'd be an author. It wasn't exactly my thing, right? I never thought I was a great orator. I was always a good guy at building skyscrapers, and we had to dominate Kamala. That's all I cared about. We did it once. We did it in 2024. We had to do it again. Yeah, listen, the book hit the top of the charts. There's a great story about the way they tried to freaking destroy the family and the fact that we won against all odds, and frankly, our country's winning now. So it was a lot of fun. I wrote every single word in the book and had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. You actually put some of your own thought into it. Typically, people who are in politics just sort of have a ghostwriter do that. They give it a once-over. It seems like that must be what Kamala...
Amazing how that works, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if you actually work hard, you can succeed, right?
Yeah, it's shocking. So I want to get to your book in a minute, but I do want to talk to you a little bit about the news of the day. So It turns out like none of the lessons of 2024 have been learned by the Democratic Party. They're shutting down the government. I think because your dad was elected president. I can't, there's no other discernible reason. They haven't articulated anything that is like at all pertinent to this argument whatsoever. It's just simply because they lost. Is that your take?
Listen, guys, I run one of the big real estate companies, right, in the world. Obviously, Trump War, this is kind of what I do every single day, other than, have fun on stuff like this. And, once in a while, like a little inward reflection is a good thing. Hey, we all screw things up in the world. But it's nice to be able to attack. When you lose every single swing state, when you lose the popular vote, when every state in the country, guys, every state in the country went far right, in terms of voting, meaning, we won 11 counties in California that had never been won before as Republican, and we won Miami-Dade, by the way, a county that hasn't been won in 37 years. We won it by 11 points. So you would think they would step back and be like, I don't know, maybe our stance on illegal immigration isn't great. Like maybe having guys Eric Trump size, 6'5", 215, swimming in collegiate women's sports, like isn't a great topic. Like it was just kidding, guys. That was the guys before us. They were the crazy ones. We're actually saying these people are freaking insane. I mean, they're shutting down government literally over the premise that every illegal immigrant who came to the country illegally should be getting free health care while our bridges and roads and schools rot, while we have $37 trillion worth of national debt. And they literally, you have Chuck Schumer standing up there as if he's like, guys, it doesn't make any sense to me. You might want a little inward reflection.
Maybe you can give me just a little internal thought process on how you viewed the second term versus the first term. In that the first term, you guys were all doing this, and I mean you guys by the Trump family, obviously you by extension when you're outside, but you're still a very big part of the family and an effective surrogate. But you walk into the first time around, it's Washington, D.C., it's crazy. Even in a crazy business like New York real estate or international real estate that you've been in, it doesn't prepare you for the insanity of D.C. in the first 4 years. And then you came back the second term. It seems like you're totally prepared for that. The president seems like he's got an inner calmness. He and his team have an inner calmness on how to deal with this kind of insanity. And you can see it playing out right now as Democrats make all kinds of irrational moves, shut the government down, like advocating for all kinds of illegal immigration type policies. It seems like you guys kind of have it handled.
Guys, we won in 2020. We were in 2016, right? And we had no idea what the hell we were doing. I mean, if you ever, if you ever want to use the definition of winging something, right? Like faking it until you make it, that was us. I mean, guys, I was really good at building hotels. I was really good at building real estate buildings. Really, we were great capitalists. We understood the world. Obviously, we were on The Apprentice for 14 seasons. Right. We were really comfortable in front of a camera. We were comfortable on stage. I remember my father calls me up. I talk about it in the book, and he goes, honey, Megyn Kelly's going to freaking kill me tonight. Like, I need somebody to go on. Like, we had no friends. He's like, can you go do it? So I turned around. Instead of going back to my apartment, I lived in the city at the time. I go down to Fox News. I'm literally like the center box. There's all these illegal immigrants around me. And I said to him, I go, Pops, I love you to death. You know I don't know I'll use a nicer word, but you know I don't know a freaking thing about immigration. And listen, we spoke from the heart. Yeah. We meant everything we said. We were pragmatic in terms of how we spoke. I talked about him as a father who I freaking adore, who works so hard.
Yeah.
And how he would change the country just with pragmatism and smarts and not allowing us to get ripped off and creating the greatest economy and everything else that he ended up doing. But guys, we didn't know what the Iowa caucuses were. We didn't know what a delegate was.
Right.
Guys, we kept on winning all the states. And then we were losing we weren't losing the delegate count, but we weren't pulling ahead from Ted Cruz. And we figured out that just because you won a state didn't necessarily mean you got all the delegates. So all of a sudden we started whining and dining all the delegates. And we had to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
Coming back around, it's so much fun now, understanding the whole system, having the 4 years off, which was actually the best thing that could have ever happened to my father, because we have the Senate, we have the House, we have the Supreme Court 6-3.
Yep.
Obviously the executive branch. He has a cabinet of freaking rock stars.
Yep.
But now I see my father put a hat that I created, the Trump 2028 hat.
Yeah.
Rewrite the rules.
Yeah,
he
right.
He puts that on the fucking desk in front of Hakeem Jeffries, and he's just trolling him. I mean, he's just absolutely trolling these guys, and he's having a lot of fun, and he's throwing so much lead in the air that they literally don't know how to counter narrative the whole thing.
Well, look, I mean, the thing about it is 2016, I've said this on the show before, it felt like a pop quiz. And 2024 felt like a take-home test. And to your point earlier, Holmes, it's like, it just seems like your father's having so much more fun this time around. And he's swinging such a hot bat with all of this stuff, whether it's the trade deals or the drug pricing thing and all of this sort of thing. But I wonder, Eric, like, you know, because this book recounts all of it. The highs and the lows and the everything from the lawfare to the elections and all of that sort of stuff. You know, as someone who came into all of this from the business world, what is the one thing that was like, man, this is the most surreal?
You know, I'll never forget being at Arlington National Cemetery the morning of. I talk about this a little bit in the book, but and just the quietness, right? I mean, we get up there, and you know, the president always goes from kind of, you know, St. John's Episcopal Church. That's the one that the BLM rioters, you know, torched in the Summer of Love, I think they called it, right? The Summer of Anarchy.
Yeah, we're a block away from that right now, actually.
And we went from there to Arlington National Cemetery, and I remember it's like the first time I've heard a city just absolutely quiet. The only thing that you heard was a shudder from the paparazzi, and you're looking over, you know, thousands of graves, and you're looking over all of Washington, D.C., and you're sitting there saying, shit, this is real. Like, this is real, right? I mean, the guys walking into that office, you know, I mean, we were, you know, that day we became, you know, first family of the United States, and it's amazing. And guys, that's when they lay siege to us. I mean, I called the book Under Siege at that time. I mean, 12 minutes after my father was elected, the Washington Post came out and wrote an article. This is when the impeachment of Donald Trump begins. They impeached him twice. They made up the Russia hoax. They made up the dirty dossiers. I was the one that was getting calls from the FBI about having quote unquote secret servers in the basement of Trump Tower, which was
wild.
Yeah. They took us off of Instagram. They took us off of Twitter. They took us off of Facebook. They silenced us. They gag ordered us. 91 indictments. I mean, I became the most subpoenaed person in American history for doing absolutely nothing wrong. I mean, crackhead Hunter Biden was selling his finger art to Chinese nationals and other people for hundreds of thousands of dollars with drugs on his thing, with everything that we know that was on the laptop to hell. Yet I became the most subpoenaed person in American history by these animals. Our houses were getting raided. My father was being pulled off the ballots in Colorado, in Maine. Mm-hmm. I mean, guys, they tried to destroy our lives. They tried to destroy the movement. They tried to destroy my father. They tried to kill my father. You know, you saw what they did with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean, I never would have guessed in a million years that could have been the system in the United States of America. And you know what the coolest part of all of this is, because of guys like you, and let me give you like the immense amount of credit. I think you were the first podcast that had my father on. All of a sudden, you had a media that no longer believed, right, or people, you know, citizens that no longer believed in the mainstream media and started turning to independent voices. They started listening to you guys. They started listening to us. You know, all of a sudden the Charlie Kirks were effective, whereas before they would have never had a voice on the traditional stage. And we literally made an entire system irrelevant because the movement became so big. And it's a hell of a story of perseverance and resilience and not backing down and having backbone and freaking fighting to the death. And you know, what a journey it's been.
Yeah, you're right, Eric. It is a hell of a story. It's one of the great triumphs in American history, and I think people will be writing about it for generations. You wrote about it, a firsthand account in your own book, and we all have watched just in awe here in the last 6 months of what he's done to undo some of the terrible things that Biden did in his 4 years. And I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about what we can expect to see over the next 3 years going forward.
Well, you know, 2 years ago, I was saying that, you know, we're going to win again. You know, even when we were stuck in the middle of courthouses and in rigged, you know, in rigged cases, that we won every single one of them, thank God. As we were sitting there, I was going out every day on the courthouse steps saying, we're going to win this election because people are pissed off. We're going to win it. And by the way, Trump 2.0 is going to be Trump 1.0 as successful as it was on freaking steroids. Like, you know, he's the Energizer Bunny in a red tie, you know, taking steroids that is literally doesn't care. I mean, you know, hence what he did with Hakeem Jeffries yesterday, hence some of the funny stuff that he's posting on you know, on X, which is, you know, hysterical. I mean, you saw the thing with Schumer the other day and the guy wearing the sombrero and like, you know, it's pure comedy and you know, but I mean, what he's doing, he's throwing so much lead in the air that they can't counter narrative. I mean, this whole, you know, most favored nations with drug pricing. Why hasn't anybody done that before? I mean, they're charging U.S. citizens 10, 15 times the amount that they're charging people in France for the exact same drug. American companies are doing that. They're ripping everybody off. Like, you know, and the Democrats will find some reason to hate it. And, you know, it's, you know, look what he's done. He's blowing the hell out of every drug boat that's coming up from Venezuela and coming up through the Caribbean, so our kids aren't getting poisoned by fentanyl and we're not, losing children every day. And, all of a sudden they find some reason that that's not appropriate. And he closes the border to make sure illegal immigrants aren't coming into the country. And, he's deporting people who create massive crimes. But, some reason, they still don't want him to go into Chicago and clean it up. And Pritzker's having a fit. I mean, it's why the Democratic Party is like the weakest they've ever been. Because, I mean, they're nonsensical in terms of their policies.
Can I ask you a little bit about the humor? So, look, I've had the good fortune of being around your father in small settings on a number of occasions. And everybody always asks, right? I mean, everybody wants to know everything about your dad. And everybody asks, what's the takeaway? And I'm like, here's the thing. You can have serious conversations and you can deal with serious stuff, but he's actually one of the funniest human beings I've ever been around. It's like an evening at the Improv when he's on and he wants to be, right? When he's not wanting, we can set the serious stuff aside for a second. We can just have a laugh. And it strikes me as something watching you, watching your brother, watching your sister, both sisters, you guys just have this innate appreciation for a sense of humor that has been so sorely lacking in American politics. It's devoid on the left, by the way. Completely devoid on the left. How much of that is just part of what you grew up with and what you've brought to the political stage? Can you talk about that for a sec?
Listen, he's always kind of used levity. I'll tell you, it scared the hell out of the people in 2016 because remember, he never used a teleprompter. And so he'd go out, he'd give these rallies and it's like whatever came to mind, if he was pissed off, if he was on a sugar high, and you got the greatest comedic kind of, and it was serious, but people enjoyed it. And listen, guys, on both sides of the aisle, I'm going to bash Republicans, I'm going to bash, Democrats for a second. How many of these people are totally full of what?
Yeah.
They rehearse all these sound bites, Hillary Clinton, you're so lucky that Donald Trump won't run the legal system in this country because it's like how many times did you rehearse that sound bite in a mirror? You canned I mean, and yet DJT is letting these rippers fly, because you'd be in jail, and he's doing this off the cuff, right?
Yeah.
Only Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, and he had 1,000 of these, and he's a funny guy, and guys, I was the first person he called after Butler, right? I mean, they shot his ear off. They almost took off his head. And, the first thing he says to try and bring levity when I want to literally fight the entire world because I was so pissed off at what happened was something about having the worst earache in the history of the world. And I think he equated it to, Tyson and Holyfield or, I mean, it's the guy's always been able to bring kind of levity to dark situations, and I actually think that's a great disarming tool, if that makes sense.
Totally.
There's real genius in it if you want to know the truth.
Yes,
there's
it
times
is.
where people are uncomfortable. I mean, when he went out at Butler, when he returned to Butler, as I was saying, right?
Yes.
That wasn't what was expected. It was far, and the place just starts chanting USA, USA, and so, I think when you see these politicians, they're all full of it, they're all canned. They're all scripted. And finally, you had a guy go out there and he was on PC, he totally politically incorrect. He said what was on his mind. He said what everybody was thinking. He wasn't afraid. He didn't back down. He had backbone. And Americans instantly, especially the tough guys, right? I mean, especially people with a little, they appreciated a little bit of the bravado and the lack of staleness. And, one of the great monologues, if you guys ever have a chance to watch it, is when my father, killed al-Baghdadi when he
the best.
Love that.
And I love the Shane Gillis recreation.
Versus Barack Hussein Obama, who goes out there, today Americans executed my father's they went in, they shot him up like a dog. They sent the German Shepherds. The German Shepherds bit the hell out of the guy.
And he cried. And he cried. We said, don't cry. He said, don't cry.
He cried like a little baby. Who doesn't go through the front door? Everybody goes through the front door. These guys didn't go through the front door. They blew the wall apart.
Totally.
The guy cried.
I wonder how much of this, because look, you're the business guy. And you've been totally straightforward on that. You're the business guy. I mean, I'll let you speak for yourself, but there was always a sense in the political world that you were sort of the most reluctant of all of the family to be in the world of politics. Now you're a tremendously effective political surrogate for your father, for the things that you believe in and everything else. But you'd rather build buildings at some level. Is that still true? I mean, I know you're still running the business, but like, it seems like you're having more fun too.
Yeah, no question. I mean, first of all, I think you can compartmentalize what politics is now better than ever before. Like,
Yeah,
I
good
realize
point.
it's just a game, right? And like I've grown up and I've grown comfortable with my own voice. I'm not hiding anything, and I don't need to mince my words anymore. I think that's a little bit different when you're younger.
Yeah, we all get older. Yeah.
Guys, I was the first one on that stage. When we went down that escalator, and I never left. I mean, the darkest times I was there. I was in the courthouse every single day as they were charging my father with felonies. They came after me. They wanted me in jail. They wanted to destroy our company. Again, guys, I became the most subpoenaed person in American history. I spent a lot of time in Under Siege talking about that. And I'm a guy that, texts my kids in bed and says little prayers with them every night. And then I'm out, right? Like, I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not doing heroin benders, like counterparts of mine in the past. And
if anybody had an excuse to do heroin benders, by the way,
yeah. You might say the other guy's more fun than I am, but I always lived a pretty clean life. But listen, I love the company. I'm the one guy I don't need to be in the spotlight. I can turn it on. I can be on that stage, and I can do it as well as anyone. And I'm also happy to win the race in the background. And my father came to me. I was 33 years old, and he goes, "Honey, I want you to run the business. Like, you're the guy to do it. You're the guy that's built most of these assets." And listen, this was his entire legacy. This was everything that he had ever done until Washington D.C. was what I do right now. And he was going to have to step totally out of it. He wasn't going to have any control. He had no visibility. He had nothing. And honey, I want you to do a great job. And I love building. I love real estate. I love it. But at the same time, I'm the first one, even though it doesn't serve my purposes most of the time, to stand on the stage and swing away at these radical left lunatics because I love this country. I love the American flag, and our country was going to hell.
Yeah, I mean, well said. It just seems to me like it is hilarious if I'm in your shoes, where you grow up. First of all, you got to tell me a little bit about. You grow up, your dad's family. I tell this story all the time where I was like 6. And I remember being in bed, you like get in bed with your parents. Mm-hmm. And they had this old alarm clock that played the radio. It was a local Minneapolis station. And I remember like frequent occasion, it was like, well, Donald Trump says the Taj Mahal is going to be the greatest thing in the world. And then like they play audio of your dad. I can't imagine what it's like. I'm in Minnesota. I can't imagine what it's like. That's your dad. He's famous when you were an infant. And like you've grown up with all of that all around you. Now this is like in a different galaxy in terms of like how big your dad has actually become and what he's doing for this country and everything else. But that's got to be just sort of an interesting perspective.
Listen, there was definitely a duality in my childhood, right? I was flying on helicopters to Atlantic City every weekend as a kid with Michael Jackson, and
yeah, right, weird, right?
Never alone, but I was on the other side of the helicopter, and I was, and listen, and Don King and Mike Tyson, and Tina Turner, and like go down the list, like we saw it all, and I think looking back, you kind of got to pinch yourself. It was like a childhood that was very different. At the same time, let me tell you the duality. When I got to 11. My father, and we were spoiled as hell. We lived in Trump Tower, always had a warm house, always had a comfy bed, best schools. But, Eric, you're going to work. And Don, you're going to work. And Ivanka, you're going to work. And I started on construction sites in our company with stonemasons at 11 years old. I was running conduit. I was doing stonework, concrete work. I mean, like, guys, I still I ran half the electrical in my house just for fun because I enjoy this stuff and I'm good at it.
Yeah.
There was no like, here, honey, here's a free Ferrari. You're 16 years old. Like, congratulations on the success of your life. Like, guys, like if we wanted something, we worked our butts off for it. There was no jokes. And my father, every day before going to school, no drinking, no drugs, no smoking, and frankly, never trust anyone. He said that a lot. I rarely put that in, but it's like, life's tough. Yeah. You're going to go work. You're going to learn what it feels like to work minimum wage. You're going to actually learn a task. I'm going to tire you out so much that you're not going to go and again, do those crack benders, right? Because you're going to, first of all, appreciate the money and not want to spend on drugs, knowing how hard it is to earn. Mm-hmm. Second of all, nothing good ever came out of giving type A kids, and I'd say we're certainly type A free time, right? And no, guys, he made us work. He expected results. He was a phenomenal father. And just, I can't tell you how many friends I had that went to school with us, who might be in the same socioeconomic categories or whatever it is, who went down these disastrous paths, and not a single one of us ever did. I mean, by the way, even Hillary Clinton will say that. She goes, you know what? If I have to compliment Donald Trump on one thing, it's he's got good kids, good, hardworking, very capable kids. And he was a great father, amazing man, one of my, probably my closest friend in the world. I love him to death.
It's
incredible.
It's fascinating. I mean, look, that is the takeaway, because what you guys have gone through, and you go through this in your book, Under Siege, nobody else has gone through to this extent. Right? Not this publicly. And when you have the upbringing that you had, always being in the limelight, always having some entree into this larger public discussion, albeit, with a father that made you work hard for every step of the way. Like, literally everyone else in your situation has always had some crack in the armor. And what I find so fascinating about your family is how tight you are, how close you all are, how much you care about not just the outcomes that you're all working on, but each other. And you can really circle the wagons in a way that people similarly situated, honestly, Eric, they don't know how to do.
Guys, if I could tell you, the number one rule of politics is keep family the hell out of politics, right? It's like you'll joke, every campaign manager and once again, rewrite the rules, right? I mean, we rewrote the rules, and listen, my father at a young age kind of, put incredible faith in me. He'd give me a task that I thought was so insurmountable, and you would reach it, and you would, and then he'd give you one that was a little bit bigger, and you'd reach it, and he kept on kind of building you up. And the only thing we've ever done as a family is fight together. I mean, whether that's in real estate, the hotels, the golf courses, The Apprentice. I mean, he gave me the opportunity when I was, a relatively young kid to go on The Apprentice, be in the boardroom.
Yeah, that's a wild thing. I want to talk about that.
For 7 seasons, I'm watching like Nene Leakes and these guys curse each other out at 7 o'clock in the morning on like a Tuesday. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm watching Gary Busey in a boardroom shout at Meatloaf, right? And but guys, like we had never known anything other than fighting together as a family. And when he called Don, Ivanka, and I, and he called us, and I talk about this in the book, but he called us. He called me and he goes, "Bring the kids up." So we go up to his floor, his office. And he goes, "Kids, I'm going to do this. Let's do this." Meaning when he said, "Let's do this," it's like this is a family approach. Guys, when I say we had no friends, when I saw 2024 roll around and every senator and every congressman, we would love to endorse you. Not that their endorsements meant anything, because we didn't have a single one of their endorsements in 2016 and we still won. But I'm sitting there like, how funny is this? Like, I think I think Don and I were like the only 2 people to endorse my father in 2016 until like, 3 days before the election when it was already over, and we already it's everything we've done, we've always fought together, and that's like the antithesis of not normal politics. Like, name another political family where the kids have anything to do with politics. I mean, listen, Sasha and Malia were too young, and God bless them. Keep them the hell out of it, because it's just they're
totally
at the time they were young and innocent and don't pervert, right? And Melania did an unbelievable job keeping Barron out of it.
Totally agree.
It's a gross world, but like. There were political, kids that were older that had the ability to fight, and they always had a problem. Normally, it was the actual candidate trying to hide the child from the press versus, versus the exact opposite. And so, we embraced it, and I think we did so with a level of sincerity that just somehow worked.
It is a level of sincerity, no question about it, fellas. You got anything you want to wrap up with?
I'm good.
I'll tell you, we are really looking forward to having you in studio very soon to talk a little bit more about your book, because we're every single guy on this set is reading it. Every single guy is recommending it to our buddies. We're recommending it to our families. And we can't wait to have you in studio, because it's a lot more fun when you're sitting here at the desk.
Yeah, you can get a little taste of the fellas upright and personal, and I'm not sure that that's...
Guys, I have a feeling I'm going to get in trouble. Like, I think you
that's good.
You 3 plus me is probably headlines on the Daily Mail, and which, by the way, is totally fine with me. I'm beyond giving a damn at this point. But we're gonna have a good time, and I'm hell bent on being #1 New York Times bestseller. It's going to make them absolutely freak the hell out when a Trump who they've been trying to take down for years is the top of their book charts. So, honored by the success, and we're going to have a lot of fun together.
Listen, nobody other than your father has gone through more personal turmoil than you have. You've popped out the other side more successful than ever. He's soon to be a New York Times #1 bestseller. Eric Trump, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be on, guys.
He is so funny. He is so great, and I cannot wait till he's in studio very soon.
It's going to be really good. A lot of fun commentary there. We live in kind of dark times in a lot of different ways, but it doesn't we shouldn't neglect the fact that there are like families involved and stories involved, and like they've always gotten through things with an element of humor, which we wanted to explore a little bit. What life's a little bit about, and then like his observations on The View. He did all of it. Like he's just a good dude.
Yep.
You know, and like they're so cartooned by national media, where it's very hard for anyone, even supporters, to get a real sense of like who Eric is and Don, Ivanka, and Barron, and
at the end of the day, it's a tight-knit family.
It is.
Like, yes, you may have the president. Yes, you may have multiple successful business, but they're a family.
Yeah, they're a family, and they've done this thing together, and they're right in the fight now, and God bless them for doing it. Fantastic interview. I'm so glad we did it. I'm also like pumped. He's coming in here in a couple of weeks. We're going to have a good time.
Heck yeah.
We're going to have a good time. All right. So remember our question of the day. We know that Russ Vaught has started the cuts over at OMB. And the question to you is, what would you do if you were in his seat? What cuts would you make if you were the OMB director, now that the Democrats have shut the government down and you have free license to do whatever it is that you want? When you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Variety program, we read all of your comments and feature them in the very next episode. In this case, it's going to be Friday. With that, fellas, I think we did it.
I think so. Absolute banger of an episode. Gentlemen, thanks again to Eric Trump, and thank you to the listeners. Remember, like Holmes said, if you have not yet, hit the subscribe on the YouTube because it's more fun in video. So until next time, minions, keep the faith, hold the line and on the libs. We'll see you Friday. Stay ruthless.